Augustus. Augustus, originally named Octavian, didn't just become Rome's first emperor. He created the very concept of Roman emperorship. After Julius Caesar's assassination in 44 BC, Rome was tearing itself apart in civil wars. Octavian was just 18 years old when he inherited Caesar's name and legacy. Can you imagine that pressure? But here's what made Augustus legendary. He ended decades of civil war and ushered in the Pax Romana, 2 centuries of peace and prosperity. Augustus ruled for 45 years, transforming Rome from a republic into an empire. He famously boasted, "I found Rome a city of brick and left it a city of marble." The guy literally rebuilt the capital from the ground up. Augustus also established the Praetorian Guard, created a professional army, and set up a postal system that connected the entire empire. When he died in 14 AD, Romans worshipped him as a god. That's the kind of legacy that lasts 2,000 years.
Trajan, pronounced Trajan. This emperor took Roman expansion to its absolute peak. When Trajan became emperor in 98 AD, Rome was already massive. But Trajan thought, you know what, let's make it even bigger. He conquered Dacia, modern-day Romania, bringing incredible wealth in gold and slaves back to Rome. Then he set his sights on the Parthian Empire, modern-day Iran and Iraq. Trajan's armies reached as far as the Persian Gulf. Under his rule, the Roman Empire reached its greatest territorial extent. We're talking about ruling over 60 million people across 3 continents. But Trajan wasn't just about conquest. He used that wealth to build incredible monuments like Trajan's Market, basically the world's first shopping mall, and his famous column that still stands in Rome today. Romans loved him so much that future emperors used the phrase, "be luckier than Augustus and better than Trajan," as the ultimate compliment.
Marcus Aurelius, pronounced Marcus Aurelius. This emperor is unique because we can literally read his thoughts. His book, Meditations, gives us a window into the mind of absolute power. Marcus Aurelius ruled from 161 to 180 AD during incredibly difficult times. Plague swept through the empire. Barbarian tribes attacked the northern borders, and there were constant rebellions. Yet Marcus Aurelius handled it all while developing Stoic philosophy. His Meditations contains lines like, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Here's the crazy part. Marcus Aurelius never intended for anyone to read his philosophical writings. They were his personal journal, his way of dealing with the stress of ruling 60 million people. But those private thoughts became one of the most influential books in Western philosophy. Even today, CEOs and politicians quote Marcus Aurelius.
Constantine, the first Christian emperor, literally changed the course of human history. When he became emperor in 306 AD, Christianity was still a persecuted minority religion. But Constantine had a vision before the Battle of the Milvian Bridge in 312 AD. According to legend, Constantine saw a cross in the sky with the words, "In this sign, conquer." He painted Christian symbols on his soldiers' shields and won a decisive victory. Constantine then legalized Christianity throughout the empire with the Edict of Milan in 313 AD. But Constantine's masterstroke was founding Constantinople, modern-day Istanbul. He created a new Rome in the east that would outlast the Western Empire by 1,000 years. Constantine also reorganized the army, created a new gold currency called the solidus, and held the Council of Nicaea that defined Christian doctrine. One emperor, multiple civilizations changed forever.
Let's talk about Vespasian, pronounced Vespasian. After the chaos of Nero's reign and the year of the 4 emperors in 69 AD, Rome needed stability. Vespasian, from a middle-class family, proved that you didn't need noble birth to be a great emperor. This guy was practical, down-to-earth, and had a sense of humor. When critics complained about his tax on public toilets, Vespasian held up coins and said, "Money has no odor." That's where we get the phrase, "money doesn't stink." But Vespasian's real legacy is the Colosseum. He started construction of the Flavian Amphitheatre, which could hold 50,000 spectators. Vespasian restored Roman finances after Nero's excesses, completed military campaigns in Britain and Germany, and established the Flavian dynasty. On his deathbed he joked, "Oh dear, I think I'm becoming a god," mocking the tradition of deifying emperors. Even facing death, the guy kept his sense of humor. Enter Aurelian, pronounced Aurelian. This emperor earned the title Restitutor Orbis, Restorer of the World. In just 5 years, from 270 to 275 AD, Aurelian reconquered the breakaway territories and reunified the empire. He defeated Queen Zenobia of Palmyra, crushed the Gallic Empire, and drove barbarian invaders out of Italy. Aurelian also built massive walls around Rome, parts of which still stand today. He reformed the currency and established the cult of Sol Invictus, the unconquered sun, which influenced later Christian imagery. Aurelian saved the Roman Empire when it was literally falling apart. Unfortunately, he was assassinated by his own officers in 275 AD, but his work kept Rome going for another 2 centuries.
Titus.
Titus ruled for only 2 years, but Romans called him the delight and darling of the human race. That's quite a reputation for such a short reign. When Mount Vesuvius erupted and destroyed Pompeii and Herculaneum, Titus organized massive relief efforts. He visited the disaster zone personally and used his own money to help survivors. When a fire devastated Rome, Titus again opened the imperial treasury for rebuilding efforts. Titus also completed the Colosseum that his father Vespasian had started. The opening games lasted 100 days, featuring gladiator contests, animal hunts, and even mock naval battles. But what made Romans love Titus was his accessibility. He held regular audiences where ordinary citizens could petition him directly. When Titus died suddenly in 81 AD, Romans genuinely mourned. That kind of popularity is rare for any ruler. Julian, known as the Apostate, ruled for only 2 years, but tried to reverse 3 centuries of Christian influence. When he became emperor in 361 AD, Julian attempted to restore traditional Roman religion and Greek philosophy. Julian was incredibly well educated, writing philosophical treatises and military manuals that survive today. He successfully campaigned against Germanic tribes and Persians, proving he could fight as well as think. Julian also reduced the size of the imperial bureaucracy and cut taxes. But Julian's attempt to de-Christianize the empire failed. When he died in 363 AD during a campaign against Persia, allegedly saying, "You have won, Galilean," referring to Jesus, Christianity's victory was secure. Julian showed that even brilliant emperors can't reverse the tide of history. Still, his intellectual achievements and military success earn him a spot among Rome's greatest.